Hello, welcome to our presentation. My name is Arthur Irim, and my fellow colleagues are Dipo Chako, Vinofria Anes, Okichuku Eze, and our topic is driving sustainability in fast fashion supply chain and logistics solution for the British Council. Introduction. Fast fashion refers to the rapid production and turnover of cost clothing, enabling brands to quickly adapt to new trends. This model, however, has a significant negative consequences. According to the Ellen MacArthur Foundation 2017, fast fashion is responsible for more than 10% of global CO2 emissions, surpassing those from aviation and shipping combined. The industry also creates enormous waste, with over 92 million tons of textile discarded each year, World Economic Forum 2023. Social impacts are equally concerning, with many factory workers in developing countries enduring poor wages and unsafe conditions. This issue makes the fast fashion a pressing concern for policymakers, businesses, and consumers, especially as a climate target and ethical standard became more stringent. Mark Kinsey and Company 2024. The core management challenge for this project is determining how the British Fashion Council can meaningfully influence supply chain sustainability and drive change across the industry. Okay, industry background. Fast fashion's rise over past 2 decades is driven by the success of brands such as Zara, H&M, and most recently Shein, who have pioneered a model based on a rapid production and constantly new collections. Brands Watch and Fairhost 2010. Global sales in this sector are expected to reach $185 billion by 2027. Fortune Business Insight 2025 highlighted its massive influence. Central to this model is a highly complex global supply chain has trenched from raw material extraction, often in the global south, to international logistics and retail. The environmental consequences are imminent, as short product cycles result in increasing emissions and textile waste. Ellen MacArthur Foundation 2017. Critically, logistic and supply chain decisions, from where materials are sourced to how returned and recycling and managed, are at the heart of both problem and its potential solution. Claudio 2007. Research approach. Our research approach is grounded in interpretivism, which allows us to explore the complexity of supply chain sustainability from multiple viewpoints. We take an adaptive approach, drawing out patterns and insights directly from data rather than testing a hypothesis. By using a case study strategy, we focus deeply on the fast fashion sector in the UK, integrating both quantitative and qualitative secondary data for a richer analysis. Key techniques include content analysis of document and report, comparative analysis across different contexts, and structured framework application using model like Porter's value chain and the circular economy. This multiple layered approach strengthens the validity and relevance of our recommendations. Research framework. Our research is structured around 3 key frameworks. First, Porter Value Chain 1985 allow us to pinpoint the most significant environmental and social risks occur across the fast fashion supply chain, from inbound logistics through to post-consumer waste. Second, the circular economy model, as proposed by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation 2017, challenges the traditional linear approach by advocating for systems that prioritize recycle, reuse, and the reduction of waste. Third, the triple bottom line framework, Elkington 97 help us to assess all potential solutions through the lens of social, environmental, and economic impact. These models are not only robust in academic research, but are also increasingly adopted by forward-thinking companies within the sector. Genovese et al. 2017. By integrating this framework, our analysis remained rigorous, practical, and specifically focused on supply chain and logistic solution to sustainability challenges in fast fashion. Now, I hand over to my colleague.
Hi, I'm Deepu Sunil Chako. My student ID is 230983009. Today I'm going to talk about stakeholders map, power or interest grid. This stakeholder map uses a power or interest grid to categorize key actors in fast fashion sustainability. In the top right, with high power and high interest, are British Fashion Council and sustainable brands like Patagonia and Stella McCartney. These key players influence agendas and motivated to drive industry changes. BFC 2024, RAP 2023. Top left includes regulators and legacy brands, high in power but with lower sustained interest. They must be kept satisfied and encouraged to act. UNECE 2018, McKinsey and Company 2024. Bottom right shows NGOs and consumers, highly interested but with less direct power, keeping them informed but build pressure for changes. RAP 2023, Morehouse 2020. Bottom left features logistic providers and small suppliers with limited power and interest. They require minimum management unless their influence grows. They are ILO 2021 and Genovers. Next topic, data source. Our analysis draws from industry database, NGO and policy reports, academic literatures and news media. Sources like Mintel, Euromonitor, and IBIS World, Current Market and Supply Chain Insights, Mintel 2024. Reports from RAP and Ellen MacArthur Foundation provide sustainable challenges and solutions, RAP 2023 and Ellen MacArthur Foundation 2017. Academic research such as Nikki Mackie 2020 ensures peer-reviewed credibility. We also reviewed key policies like France AGEC law and UK Modern Slavery Act. To ensure validity, we use triangulation, cross-checking between source types. Each team members focused on a specific data area which enhanced depth and accountability. Next topic, fast fashion supply chain mapping. This map outlines the fast fashion supply chain from raw materials to end of life. Cotton and polyester products need a large amount of water, chemical, and energy, leads to high carbon dioxide emission. Nikki Mackie 2020. Fabric dye contributes to chemical runoff. Ellen MacArthur Foundation 2017. Manufacturing often takes place in regions with weak labor laws, increasing social risk and emission. ILO 2021. Logistic depends on carbon intensive transport. Genovas 2017. Rapid product turnover and aggressive marketing results in high level of retail and consumer waste. Minton 2024. Most discharged garments end up in landfill and burn over 92 million tons annually. World Economic Forum 2023. Each stage demands reforms. Next topic, key data findings of environmental and social impacts. Fashion industry emission were 889 million metric tons of carbon dioxide in 2019 and could surpass 1.2 billion by 2030. Brewery 2016, making it significant climate contributors. Producing a t-shirt and jeans consumes 20,000 liters of water. Statista 2019, often in water-scarce region. Social concerns are equally pressing garment workers at extremely low wages, such as 23 euro per month in Ethiopia and under 150 euro in many Asian countries. Statista 2022. These figures underlines the urgent need to reform, both environmental and ethical. Next topic, key data findings of consumer behavior and wastage. Fast fashion thrives on overconsumption. In the UK, nearly 1 in 3 women and more than 1 in 6 men often buy new clothes that they never wear. Statista 2024. Awareness is rising. 60% of UK women aged between 25 and 44 actively seeking sustainable fashion, far more than older people or men's. Statista 2021. Still, the wastage problem is remaining very crucial. In 2017, UK household threw out 254,000 tons of cloth were curbside collection alone. Statista 2025. This highlights the need for improvement consumers education and innovative supply chain solution to reduce post-consumer waste.
Hi everyone, my name is Vishnupriya Chakanatwadi Kilanish. My student ID is 231222752. I'm here to talk about the topic of regulations and the best practices. Several countries and leading companies have implemented regulations and the best practices to improve fast fashion supply chain sustainability. France AGC law prohibit destroying unsold clothing and enforcement recycling and eco designs, and EU directives demand detailed supply chain transparency and corporate responsibility for environmental and human rights impacts. And also UK Modern Slavery Act 2015 requires business to enclose labor standards throughout their supply chains. Stella McCartney Initiatives champions regulation designs and responsible sourcing, and H&M Initiative offers clothing take-back publisher supply list. And also the challenges is despite improved the disclosure and raised standards, enforcement and widespread adoption remain significant challenges. And also relevance to the British Fashion Council, the example offer valuable lesson for the British Fashion Council. The environmental and social pressures within the fast fashion value chain. The Porter's value chain application, applying Porter value chain to the fast fashion highlights where environmental and the social pressures are the most concentrated. And the inbound logistics and procurement focus on the cost and speed with minimal attention to environmental impact. Operations, especially in developing countries, exhibit the highest concentration of social and environmental risk. Technology investments in primarily aim to accelerate time to the market, not to support sustainability. And the outbound logistics generate significant carbon emissions due to the global shipping. Marketing and sales drive through continuous cycle of consumption and waste. Service and return infrastructure link to infrastructure to repair the reuse. The business margin maximization achieved through the aggressive cost cutting, leading sustainable hidden cost for the people and the planet. Benefit of hotspot identification, identifying these problematic areas allow for the more targeted interventions to create the fairer and engineer supply chain. And the next is a circular economy in fast fashion. Goal keep materials and products in use as long as possible, minimizing waste. Design for longevity begins with the designing clothes to the last. Sustainable sourcing involves the sourcing sustainable materials. Efficient manufacturing ensures efficient production process. Optimize logistics, reduce emissions, and mindful consumer use extend product life through the conscious and consumption. Collection and take back schemes recover the used garments, closed loop system. Recovered garments are reused, upcycled, and recycled into the new fibers. Benefits of implementations reduces the environmental impact, conserves resources, and the shift from the wasteful inner model to a sustainable circular approach. The next is the triple bottom line framework in the context of the fashion industry. The triple bottom line framework requires balancing people, planet, and the profit beyond just financial gains. And people aspect crucial to address supply chain ethics means rising standards for wages and the worker safety. Involve the investing the communities, require the fighting labor exploitations like planet aspects. Fashion brand must commit to ambitious emissions, water and the water resistance for the targets. Embrace circularity, the eco-design from the start. Require supply chain transparency. Utilize new technologies for traceability. Profits aspect remaining key driver. Long-term value depends on the building trust, resilience, and alignment within the consumer values. The next is the drivers and challenges of fast fashion's sustainable model. Profit as primary motivation. Brand prioritize large volume and low cost, leading and overproduction and waste. Speed and rapid collections essential for fast fashion requires cheaping and material and shift logistics, often at the expense of environmental and social standards. Normalized disposed consumption. Consumer demand influenced by the trend and the social media has made of the idea of clothing and disposable commonplace. Fragmented regulations, inconsistent and fragmented regulatory standard allow brand to the shift production to the locals with a weaker production, avoiding accountability. And supply chain opacity. The sheer opacity and complexity of global supply chain and it's difficult for brands and regulation trace environmental or social impact. Weak enforcement and the consumer price sensitivity. Weak enforcement of regulations and the risk of the losing people sensitive consumers discourage brand from adopting more sustainable practices?
My name is Okechukwu Collins Eze. So I'll be presenting on the option analysis, and the first one is that the short-term solutions. So for immediate impact, the British Fashion Council could introduce several evidence-based achievable reforms. First, mandating supply chain transparency would compel brands to disclose sourcing and environmental impact, making it harder to hide unethical practices. Setting minimum standard for suppliers covering labor, water use, and waste, ensuring a baseline for ethical sourcing. These short-term options are all proven to improve supply chain sustainability in long-term strategies. So this here is looking beyond immediate actions. The British Fashion Council can drive transformational change by promoting ambitious long-term strategies. Circularity mandates such as designing clothes for reuse and recycling, repair, which will close the loop, minimizing waste, introducing phased carbon reduction targets for supply chains aligned with global agreements can ensure meaningful progress on climate. Technological solutions, including blockchains or product digital passports, enables end-to-end tracking and help prevent fraud or misinformation. Finally, harmonizing standards across the UK, the EU, and international framework would reduce loopholes. However, these solutions are complex and costly, requiring sustained investment, strong collaborations, and robust enforcement to succeed. The risk, challenges, and limitations. Data transparency remains a fundamental challenge. Many suppliers lack the digital tools needed to track and report key metrics, or they are just reluctant to share sensitive information. Small and medium enterprises may lack the resources to meet new standards, risking exclusion or financial hardship. There is also a danger of greenwashing, where brands exaggerate sustainability achievements or consumers are misled by unclear claims. Enforcement is another weak spot. Without significant penalties or harmonized rules, some brands may ignore regulation. Finally, rapid shifts in technology, market demand, or government policy can undermine even the best intentioned reforms. So what are our recommendations? Based on our findings, we recommend several key actions for the British Fashion Council. In the short terms, mandating supply chain transparency will drive accountability and make it easier to identify and address environmental and social risk. Cycling and repair will promote circularity and responsible production. For long-term impact, we suggest incentivizing circular design and adopting digital tracking systems, including product passports, to enable full traceability and discourage greenwashing. The BFC, that's the British Fashion Council, should also foster greater industry-wide collaboration, aligning with global partners on standard and best practices. So, in conclusion, our research highlights that the fast fashion industry presents critical sustainability challenges for the British Fashion Council and its stakeholders. Carbon emission and resource use remain high across all supply chain stages, while waste continues to grow, with less than 1% of clothing recycled. Social issues, especially low wages and poor working conditions, persist due to opacity and complexity of global supply chains. So our analysis shows that these unsustainable practices are rooted in profit-driving business models, consumer demand, and inconsistent regulation. Evidence-based monitoring and adaptation will be vital for sustained improvement in fast fashion sustainability. Below are my references. Thank you for your time.